among survivors of May Mahiu Dam tragedy that left 60 people dead in April 2024. Good evening and a very warm welcome to this broadcast. My name is Mchuma Odim. My colleague Tom Boya is away this evening. Our sign language expert is Lucy Moura. Talk to us on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. On to our lead story, Deputy Inspector General of Kenya Police Service, Eliud Lagat, has stepped aside amid a deepening controversy over the death of teacher Albert Ojwang. In a statement, Lagat said his decision was made in good and conscious thought of weight of his office and the public interest surrounding the case. The announcement comes as investigations intensify, placing the spotlight on Lagat's office and raising serious questions about accountability within the security sector. Ben Chumba reports.
In a stunning development and a major shake-up in the country's top police leadership, Deputy Inspector General of the Kenya Police Service, Eliud Lagat, has temporarily vacated his position. Lagat cited the need for impartial investigations into the death of Albert Ojwang, a teacher whose case has sparked outrage and a flurry of questions within the national security establishment. In a statement released from Vigilance House on Monday, Lagat stated, quote, "In the good and the conscious thought of my role and responsibilities, I have today opted to step aside pending completion of investigations." End quote. Eliud Kipkoech Lagat is a seasoned career police officer with over 25 years of experience in the service. He was the commandant of the General Service Unit GSU before his current role. Lagat has served in various capacities, including Deputy Head of Crime Scene Support Unit, Head of the Investigation Bureau, and later as Head of Bomb and Hazardous Materials Unit. Lagat holds a master's degree in Armed Conflict and Peace Studies from the University of Nairobi and a Bachelor of Science in Automotive Engineering from the University of Eastern Africa, Baraton. But now the man once tasked with enforcing law and order finds himself at the center of controversy. While no wrongdoing has been directly attributed to him, the political and legal heat surrounding Ojwang's death has made Lagat's position increasingly untenable. He has pledged full cooperation with investigators and expressed his condolences to the family of the deceased, a move likely aimed at preserving public trust in the force. For now, his deputy takes over as the country waits for answers. But the questions remain: what happened to Albert Ojwang, and how deep does this investigation go? Ben Chumba, Prime Edition.
Staying with Ojwang's case, Officer Commanding Central Police Station Samson Talam has been detained until Wednesday, 18th June, awaiting a pre-charge bail application ruling. Talam, who was arrested last Friday, is among suspects being investigated over the death of teacher Albert Omondi Ojwang, who died in police custody a week ago. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions and the Independent Policing Oversight Authority want the court to allow Talam's 21-day continued detention to ensure the security and integrity of the case. The technician who was hired to tamper with the surveillance footage at the Central Police Station has also been arraigned at the Kibera Law Court. Here's that report.
Samson Talam had his day in court on Monday. Shortly after 11 a.m., the officer commanding the Nairobi Central Police Station calmly took to the dock as investigation into the death of Albert Ojwang gathered momentum.
I swear by the name of the Almighty God The evidence I shall give before this court.
The Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, led by Senior Prosecuting Counsel Juma Victor Owiti, urged the court to grant the Independent Policing Oversight Authority investigator Abdirahman Jibri 21 days to detain Talam.
There is a potential criminal trial, and this is the quadruple interest. Number one, the rights of the accused individual, in this case the respondent, who is likely to be charged in a potential criminal trial.
Potential witnesses, the police officers who are on duty, and any other person who was at the vicinity at Central Police Station.
Trial Magistrate Ben Makehobi was informed that Talam, being the custodian of the greatest police station in Kenya, has influence and could jeopardize the ongoing investigations.
All offenses in Kenya are bailable, but there is no greater need for self-preservation where a police officer, no less than the officer commanding the station, is intended to be likely charged with the offense of murder.
The court was also told that the false entry of the occurrence book by his subordinates and interference with the CCTV footage should be compelling reasons for his custody. However, the Central Police boss, through his lawyers led by Felix Kiprono and Clay Fombet, argued that the 21 detention is not warranted.
Investigations have not adduced any cogent reasons necessitating continued detention of the respondent.
But they're telling you something else that is imaginary, that they are yet to get some other witnesses who they are going to record their statements. What does that show you, Your Honor? That the OCS does not have the names of those witnesses or does not know them.
The defense further urged the court to grant Talam pre-charge bail, stating that he is innocent until proven otherwise and has so far cooperated with investigators.
So at 2 p.m. on the 18th of June, on Wednesday.
The development comes even as a technician was hired to tamper with the surveillance footage at the Central Police Station was also arraigned on Monday at Kibera Law Court. This now brings to 3 suspects who are now in custody over the murder of teacher cum social media influencer Albert Omondi Ojwang. Talam, who has been in service for 29 years now, will be remanded at Langata Police Station, even as calls for DIG Eliud Lagat and the DCI officers that picked Albert Ojwang in Homa Bay County continue to mount for them to be presented in court. Ruth Wamboi reporting from Milimani Law Court.
From who killed Ojwang to another story we highlighted for you at the beginning of the broadcast, former Chief Justice David Maraga is demanding the resignation, arrest and prosecution of Deputy Inspector General of Police Eliud Lagat over the death of Albert Ojwang. Maraga says that prima facie evidence that Lagat directly or indirectly is implicated in the legal arrest, torture and murder of Ojwang. As Joseph Wahungu reports, Maraga is adamant that the decision by Lagat to step aside is merely a first step in ensuring justice for the slain teacher.
Former Chief Justice David Maraga has welcomed the decision by Deputy Inspector General of Police Eliud Lagat to step aside. Maraga, however, says it shouldn't end there. Hours before Lagat stepped aside, the former Chief Justice and his allies had called for his arrest and prosecution over the death of teacher Albert Ojwang.
There is prima facie evidence that Mr. Eliud Lagat, directly or indirectly, by himself or through his accomplices, is implicated in the illegal arrest, torture, strangulation, and the eventual murder of Albert Ojwang.
Maraga accused the Inspector General of Police and the Director of Criminal Investigations of lying under oath.
Consequently, the Kenyans have lost trust in, the Kenyan people have lost trust in them. This cannot be allowed to continue. Our institutions of human rights and justice need a serious resetting and rebuilding.
Orange Democratic Movement, through its Secretary General, has demanded a transparent probe into Ojwang's murder. ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna accused the government of doing little to stem extrajudicial killings and enforced disappearances.
Mimi nimesema hata hiyo vitu vingine ile MOU ilikuwa inasema hatutaki sasa, kwa sababu kama utakuja kunijengea barabara ndio Subaru ziingie vizuri bila kushughulika kubeba vijana, ndio magari ya kubeba maiti zirudi vizuri bila kupata shida kutuletea mili ya vijana yetu, hiyo barabara hatutaki.
A week after the murder of Albert Ojwang, pressure is mounting on the government to ensure justice for his family, even with demands being made for Deputy Inspector General Eliud Lagat to resign from office. Reporting for Prime Edition in Nairobi, my name is Joseph Wahungu.
It is now mandatory for all police stations in the country to be equipped with CCTV surveillance with an external backup system. The occurrence book, commonly referred to as an OB, will also be digitized within a year to ensure it is tamper-proof. These changes are part of policy reforms announced this afternoon by Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, who noted they are among measures aimed at enhancing transparency and accountability in the National Police Service. Timothy Kipnusu has these details.
In the wake of the brutal killing of blogger Albert Omondi Ojwang in police custody, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen announced a raft of reforms aimed at restoring waning public confidence of the police. Speaking Monday on the state of security in the country, Murkomen announced the mandatory installation of CCTV surveillance systems in all 1,209 police stations across the country with an external backup system.
It shall be mandatory to equip police stations with CCTV surveillance to enhance transparency and accountability. All the police stations currently standing at 1,209 shall have CCTV surveillance within the next 2 years.
At the same time, the occurrence book, commonly referred to as OB, will be digitized within a year to make incident reporting tamper-proof. According to Murkomen, this is part of a raft of police reforms aimed at enhancing transparency and accountability in the National Police Service.
The Ministry of Interior and National Administration remains firmly committed to pursuing reforms through adherence to the Constitution, continuous legislation, policy and administrative reforms, and adoption of international best practices.
All police stations have also been directed to have regular audits and performance reviews to independently examine police conduct. The NPC will also take part in community policing initiatives to enhance community integration and improve the relationship between police officers and the communities.
With the people of Kenya, will continue to pursue and implement the much-needed reforms within the security sector. This process will be progressive and guided by the constitutional values, best practices, and the unwavering pursuit of justice and professionalism.
At the same time, all police officers will also undergo fresh training and education programs to modernize the service. The new reforms will be centralized at every police station under the command of the officers commanding stations. It is evident that the gruesome murder of blogger Albert Ojwang and the barrage of public outcry has presented an opportunity for the Ministry of Interior as well as the National Police Service to put their house in order, with many questions still going unanswered. Will the new reforms stop the killings of Kenyans? Earlier, Murkomen called for collective regional action towards eradicating drug trafficking in the continent. Murkomen called for a review of current policies on drug trafficking in the region, to tap online international networks that sell marijuana, heroin, cocaine, and other synthetic drugs.
Sustainable solutions will require us to reframe drug policy as both a public health and a development priority. As we reflect on the insight of this report and the leadership of the Eastern and Southern African Commission on Drugs, let us rededicate ourselves to this fight.
Finally, the Commission has discussed with civic society organizations, national government representatives, the harms inflicted by current drug policy approaches in the region and the possible solutions to mitigate these harms, particularly for women, young people, and children.
Timothy Kipnusu for Prime Edition, Nairobi.
Let's now switch to Health Watch. Health Cabinet Secretary Eden Duale says a comprehensive reform plan is underway at the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority, KEMSA, to improve availability and quality standard of drugs across all public health facilities in the country by, among others, ensuring improved operational efficiency in the supply chain. Speaking at Afya House in Nairobi during a media briefing on ongoing rollout of Taifa Care, Duale revealed that the government has recapitalized KEMSA, enabling it to stock essential drugs for the financial year 2025-2026.
Financial difficulties at the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority has led to a myriad of challenges, key among them being the inability to procure essential health products and technologies. Speaking at Afya House in Nairobi County during a media briefing on the ongoing rollout of Taifa Care, the Health Cabinet Secretary Eden Duale said comprehensive reform plans are underway at the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority, KEMSA, to ensure drugs are available across all the public health facilities in the country.
Because we want to make sure that the story of hakuna madawa kwa mahospitali hasa ya serikali will be a thing of the past. And that's why we are refilling the capacity of KEMSA from the current 47% to 99%.
The CS further said a track and trace technology for medicines will be used to monitor every drug's journey from manufacturer to a uniquely patient at the facility to ensure counterfeit drugs don't find their way into the market.
You will never hear of expired drugs, of buying drugs that are not needed in the market until they expire at their warehouses. KEMSA will be a different KEMSA.
Duale said digital health agencies and the Social Health Authority has identified and closed over 728 non-compliant facilities across the country.
We are digitizing all aspects of the healthcare, from the patient records to facility operations, to eliminate fraud, to reduce inefficiencies, and ensure seamless service delivery.
The government has allocated 1.75 billion shillings to settle pending arrears. It has also reaffirmed its commitment to implement all the return to work agreements. The CS, however, urged union leaders in the health sector space to match this goodwill by the government with constructive dialogue.
We have allocated, as I said earlier, 1.75 billion to settle the pending arrears and reaffirm our commitment to implementing the all return to work agreements. This is a government that acts and not just talks. We also urge our union leaders to match this goodwill with a constructive dialogue. Let us end disruptive strikes and instead work together towards sustainable solution. For the sake of our patients, make sure you give them a copy.
Counties are staring at a massive financial setback as mediation committee appointed to unlock the deadlock on the figure remains locked in a stalemate over this year's revenue allocation. For the second day running, negotiations between the Senate and the National Assembly failed to yield a consensus, with lawmakers divided over how much money should go to the counties. At the center of the storm is a 409 billion shillings offer by the National Assembly, an amount the senators say is not only inadequate but a threat to the future of devolution. Initially, the Senate had proposed 565 billion shillings, later revising it to 428 billion shillings, an amount that the National Assembly has refused to approve. The mediation enters the third attempt on Tuesday.
National Assembly is seeing this as a, something that needs progressive understanding. We can be progressive tomorrow. You have insisted, because I don't see how you can move from, 465 all the way to 428, and then the response is 0.5 billion. I mean, like, that's not speed of negotiation.
The 18 billion, if you agreed, as he suggested, we can actually think about it. I want you people to also think that. Let's all think. Let's all agree. Let's all agree to
that the figure that we have is 409.5 billion. That is the final figure we have. And as you know, as Dr. Bunial always said, we are managing the pass, the overall pass. So we know what is feasible, what can work, what cannot work. That is where we are.
Let's now take you to May Mahiu. Health stakeholders in May Mahiu have raised an alarm over an escalating mental health crisis among the survivors of the infamous May Mahiu Dam tragedy. Led by Pastor John Joroge, the stakeholders who organized the free medical checkup for the victims say the aftermath of the incident has reduced them to beggars, with many having been evicted from rental houses and unable to afford basic needs, including medical care. Here is that report.
Kijabe Mission Hospital in May Mahiu was a beehive of activities on Monday as tens of victims of the infamous May Mahiu flash floods tragedy and their families stand up in their numbers for free medical checkup in Naivasha, Nakuru County. It is here that health stakeholders raised alarm of an escalating crisis. The victims are slowly sinking into depression stemming from the high poverty levels.
Many of them are still suicidal, and some of them tell us that this is the time that this is dawning on them, that what happened really happened. They'll never see their loved ones again, and they lost everything that they had. The help has been slow in coming. We still believe in our government that the promises made will be kept, but we have in the meantime, we are doing everything we can to help them cope with the condition that they're in.
For most of them, affording basic healthcare has become a heavy burden, which has further resulted to increased cases of non-communicable diseases in the area.
Nimegonjeka like niko na kama miezi 6-7 na venye anko aliniambia kuna hii hospitali, akaniambia ndio ilikuwa niende operation. So aliniambia juu hii shida yenye tuko nayo ya pesa, so siwezi pata. So niliendelea kumeza dawa.
The most common that we are seeing here is non-communicable diseases, so hypertension, diabetes. We're seeing a little bit of arthritis and other conditions.
For victims like Rachel Wanjiko, the situation has further been compounded by the government's failure to honor promises made to them, which includes compensation and resettlement.
Kwa sasa tumekuwa wengi wakiteseka mambo ya rent, juu serikali tulipia tu only 3 months. Wengine watu wakajipanga, so tumekuwa tukiteseka mambo na makazi juu mali tuliachiwa. I think tunakanga tu hivyo.
Many patients who are still nursing wounds that they sustained during the floods, and others have just general conditions that have been complicated by the fact that they lost everything, and so they have not been able to go to the hospital at all.
The 29th of April 2024 tragedy saw torrents of water tear down Kamushiri village following a culvert burst. The tragic incident left at least 60 people dead and tens are displaced from places they called home, and their hope of ever getting back on their feet now slowly fading in silence.
I think tunakanga tu hivyo. Juu wengi hatuna kazi, hatuna mahali pa kuenda, vibarua hakuna. So tunakanga tu, maisha ni ngumu. Haijairudi kama kawaida.
John Kahiro, Prime Edition.
From tragedy trauma to gold mining in West Pokot. Over 500 gold mining sites in the region have been shut down indefinitely over serious safety, environmental and legal concerns. Speaking in Kapenguria, West Pokot County, Commissioner Halif Abdullahi revealed that all commercial miners in the area have been operating without authorization from relevant ministry. The drastic measures comes after a series of deadly incidents, including the collapse of a gold mine in Kampi Karaya on Sunday that claimed a life. A similar tragedy occurred last week in Takwel, where 4 people died and 5 others were injured. Here is that report.
On illegal gold mining, West Pokot County Commissioner Khalif Abdullahi has ordered the immediate and indefinite closure of over 500 mining sites across the county. The move comes after 1 person died after a gold mine collapsed at Kambi Karaya in West Pokot County on Sunday evening.
Government has directed the closure of all mining sites within West Pokot County with immediate effect. There are over 500 gold mining sites in areas of Kambi Karai, Laminyausi, along Takwel River, Seker. There are also mining sites in Pokot North, areas of Kasei, Kiwawa, places called Morita and Romus.
The incident comes barely a week after a similar tragedy in Karon village, Takwel, where 4 people died and 5 others were injured, following another gold mine collapse.
We had 4 deaths recently and 5 casualties in Takwel area. Yesterday, Sunday, the 15th of June, 2025, we had a gold mine caving in at Kambi Karai at 4:15 p.m. 2 excavator machines were buried. We had 1 fatality, death of 1 lady whose body has been retrieved.
Khalif cited widespread environmental degradation and river pollution as key factors behind the closure, pointing to River Takwel, which he said is no longer safe for domestic use.
We are in constant conversation with NEMA, National Environmental Management Authority, and we have had communication from the Director General of NEMA directing the closure of this mine, largely because of environmental degradation.
He confirmed that the National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, has issued a formal closure notice for the mining operations. Khalif also raised alarm over the rising cases of child labor and early marriages linked to gold mining activities in the county, which he said have contributed to school dropouts.
It is the Day of the African Child, June the 16th, and there are calls for deeper investments on children's well-being. We have details on that and much more after the break, including business and sports, with the detail and clarity you deserve. Stay with us.
Semana Spokes. Semana Spokes is a bold, enlightening television show that offers Kenyans a direct line to the heart of government operations. Hosted by the government spokesman, Isaac Mwaura. Welcome to Semana Spokes Bonga Gava. This weekly program features candid conversations with senior government officials, cabinet secretaries, and heads of key parastatals as they break down their ministry's achievements, challenges, and strategic plans. Cage aquaculture farming,
yes.
8.7 billion.
Yes.
So there's a lot of money.
There's a lot of, and we have not even tapped the potential.
As we get closer to start constructing the first nuclear program, we should have a robust regulatory framework.
Thank you, the spokesperson, for this chance where we are able to converse with our government.
Semana Spokes.
Hii sio story ya jaba.
Sio story ya jaba. Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo daima.
Thank you.
Tuesday at 8 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
Welcome back to Prime Edition. Thank you for talking to us on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 on X, Facebook, and YouTube. You'll be able to sample some of your views at the end of this broadcast. Across the borders, Israel has defended its action against Iran's advancing nuclear and ballistic missile capabilities, claiming the Ayatollah regime has long harbored intentions to annihilate Israel. The claim by Israel came as Iran called on U.S. President Donald Trump on Monday to force Israel to cease fire as the only way to end the 4-day-old aerial war.
According to Israeli ambassador to Kenya, Michael Lotem, Israel's actions are not defensive but aim to weaken the Iranian regime and in turn contribute to greater regional stability. The claim by Lotem came as Iran called on U.S. President Donald Trump on Monday to force Israel to cease fire as the only way to end the 4-day-old aerial war, while Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said his country was on the path to victory. Israeli forces stepped up their bombardment of Iranian cities, while Iran proved capable of piercing Israeli air defenses with one of its most successful volleys, yet of retaliatory missile strikes. Iran said Israel must halt its aggression and absent a total cessation of military aggression. Tehran has asked Qatar, Saudi Arabia and Oman to press Trump to use his influence on Israel to agree to an immediate ceasefire. In return, Iran would show flexibility in nuclear negotiations. In Israel, 24 people have been killed so far in Iran's missile attacks, all of them civilians. Round-the-clock television images showed rescuers working in ruins of flattened homes, while Iran says more than 224 of its citizens have been killed, most of them civilians. Media published images of wounded children, women, and the elderly from cities across the country.
The Pan-African Parliament has launched high-level consultations on a model law for labor migration aimed at protecting migrant workers from exploitation and xenophobia while unlocking the full economic potential of intra-African mobility. According to members of the Pan-African Parliament led by Senators Danson Mungatana and Professor Margaret Kamar, the Continental Consultation convened in Nairobi and drawing lawmakers from across Africa is being held under the banner of the Pan-African Parliament to craft a first-of-its-kind legal framework that could redefine labor migration on the continent. The proposed model law seeks to standardize labor protections across African nations, ensuring migrant workers are treated fairly, whether in Nairobi, Lagos, or Cairo. The initiative is part of Africa's broader Agenda 2063 plan, which aims to make intra-African migration safer, more structured, and economically productive.
We are actually here to look at how we can come up with one model law that can be adopted by the different countries to make sure that labor or migrant workers are treated fairly, that they are treated uniformly, so that a migrant worker is not treated differently from a worker who is from the partner state, and yet they are contributing.
The Pan-African Parliament is doing these consultations around Africa. They'll come to Nairobi, they'll go elsewhere. I'm informed that the next stop might be Morocco. We have divided ourselves into 5 regions. The law that we are trying to consult on is supposed to create a way in which other people can come and live here. Other people can come and work here. Other people can marry here.
Migrant workers generally face a lot of challenges when they move from their countries of origin to their countries of destination, even in transit. And therefore, the model law will be looking at all those aspects so that while the migrants are in transit and on arrival in their destination countries, their rights are not abused.
The Day of the African Child, and First Lady Rachel Ruto has called for deeper investment in children's well-being, not just through goodwill, but through planning, budgeting, and policy making. Speaking in Makueni County at the commemoration of the day, the First Lady said the government is committed to placing children at the heart of development. Take a look.
The Day of the African Child is a moment to reflect on the progress made in protecting and empowering children across the continent. In Kenya, the day was used to push for the inclusion of children in development. The national celebration was held at the Unoa Primary School in Makueni County, where the First Lady championed the rights of children.
Just as we learned how to count, save and invest our material, so we must ensure that every policy, every shilling and every program for children is carefully planned and accounted for, empowering them to claim their rights and shape Kenya's tomorrow.
Africa's aspirations towards eradication of poverty, development of human capital and economic growth cannot be achieved without directing a country's investment in children.
In Kiambu County, the celebrations were held in Kikuyu Township, where Chief Magistrate Stella Kanyeri stressed that despite constitutional promises since the year 2010, children still face poverty, harmful cultural practices and limited access to basic services.
Zile changamoto ambazo tunaonelea hivi sasa zinawakumba watoto ni kama zile issue za umaskini. Pia kuna ile issue ya kuwa na lack of access to education, lack of access to healthcare, nutrition, negative culture kama zile FGM, early marriages, LGBT na climate change, na maneno kama exploitation kama hiyo ya online venye mtoto ameweza kusema.
Kanyeri urged for stronger legal framework and better resource use to protect children's rights. Alvin Kaunda reporting for KBC Channel 1.
From the Day of the African Child to the Cabinet, Andrew Chepkoyo Kiptun served as the Minister for Roads and Public Works in President Daniel Arap Moi's government. An engineer by profession, Kiptun was in the Cabinet for 2.5 years. Now here is more on tonight's episode of the Cabinet by Ben Chalinjoy.
Officials used to embezzle public funds. A man known to speak his mind, astute and firm, Engineer Kiptun is said to have differed with President Moi and those close to him on several occasions for persistently demanding prudent management of Kenya's economy. He once challenged President Moi in Parliament to declare whether he was retiring after 2002 elections because of the uncertainty of the economy. The axe fell on him in 2002 after persistent lobbying and prodding by influential contractors while working in cahoots with powerful government officials. MPs from both sides of parliament described Kiptun as open and transparent on national issues, adding that he was a moderate and likable member of the Moi cabinet with no scandals like some of his counterparts. Some said Kiptun had invited his sacking by clinging to the Mr. Clean tag in the midst of looters. After his exit from cabinet in 2002, Kiptun retired from politics and ventured in business. For the cabinet, I'm Ben Troy Njue.
It starts with little moments of courage. To stepping out into the new world with confidence. Taking leaps of faith. Spreading your wings and soaring to new heights. Your mother's love is with you wherever you go. Stay soft. Nothing lasts like mom's love.
Jane, siku leo ni kuishi na bwanako huko. Mimi nafaa kwa chui hao.
Jabali. Mamake asijue mambo ya miaka.
Nimesikia yeye ni baba wa kambo. Najua hiyo story na mvulia kofia.
Ulitoa wapi hizo story bamba?
Nilikuwa najua by now ningekuwa either Lagos ama Abuja. That's a beautiful love story.
Vile nilikuwa nafikiri ni jabu.
Nataka around 2.5 million. Hizo pesa hata sijui kama niko nazo kwa bank. Tuenda Malindi ama Jiani?
Paka chini, paka down.
Unaweza niita Liz ama Mama Ike.
Welcome back to Prime Edition. Time for us to switch to business news. There is an urgent need to entrench a national savings culture if Kenya is to reduce reliance on foreigners to fund local socio-economic development projects. Here is Trevor Ngendo with the details.
Despite having over 5.2 million registered members, the National Social Security Fund has just about 1.5 million active contributors, a clear indication of the wide coverage gap in the social protection system. With more than 80% of Kenya's workforce employed in the informal sector, the challenge of onboarding these workers into structured saving schemes remains a key concern.
The innovation has opened doors for border riders, market traders, domestic workers and youth to begin securing their retirement and social security rights.
Every Kenyan, we need to educate Kenyans on the need for savings. And we need to also encourage employers, and even at the individual level.
This situation is further compounded by low public trust, as past concerns over investments in underperforming companies have drawn public scrutiny. However, the National Social Security Fund says many of those cases were legacy issues inherited from previous administrations that have since been streamlined.
The members' funds in NSSF are safe. If you read the auditor's report, and for the first time ever, NSSF got an unqualified audit report. Unqualified audit report. That's the most important message. The second issue, the figure they are quoting is not actually what was lost. It is misinterpretation.
The National Social Security Fund says it has implemented stricter risk assessment frameworks to safeguard contributors' funds, with recent reforms and strengthened compliance enforcement helping push its total net assets to 476.8 billion shillings as of December 2024.
Most of the issues you talk about land, idle land. Land is still an investment. 4.5 billion in the CBD of Nairobi. That's a good land, good potential. We are going to develop these properties in the fullness of time.
One investment can go bad, but that doesn't mean that the portfolio was wrong. Even you, when you make decisions, you make them for tomorrow. That's why there's this whole thing called diversification. You bring different investments together so that when one goes bad, the other ones carry it.
We want Kenyans to appreciate that we can use our own savings to build our country.
Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition.
Proposal to borrow 635.5 billion shillings locally to fund the 2025-2026 budget could push up the cost of credit in the country as the government crowds out the private sector and other borrowers from the credit market. In their post-budget analysis, economists from PricewaterhouseCoopers project that the tax collection target given to the Kenya Revenue Authority is high and could see government opting for more additional domestic borrowing to fund the budgets.
When we look at the estimates again, we see that domestic borrowing is budgeted at 635 billion. What are the implications of that? The deficit grows, puts more pressure on fiscal space. We borrow more in the domestic market. The implication there is likely further crowding out of the private sector from the credit markets in the local environment.
So currently, based on our interpretation of the Finance Bill 2025 and the practice currently, deductions such as SHIF and AHL do come off before arriving at the chargeable income. And then thereafter, one would apply, relief such as the personal relief per month.
It's interesting when you think about the kind of mobilized revenues that the government is looking to collect this year when you compare it to prior years. Talking about unlocking or the finance bill expected to unlock an extra 30 billion Kenya shillings, vis-a-vis, say, the finance bill of 2024, the one that was thrown out.
On to empowering MSMEs. Micro, small and medium-sized enterprises should leverage expos and business networking events to secure markets for their products. Tunisia's ambassador to Kenya says expos and business networking events are also a platform and ideal for mentorship and fostering collaboration between entrepreneurs in Kenya and other countries like Tunisia.
The Tunisian embassy has enrolled out an initiative to support Kenyan women-led micro, small and medium-sized enterprises to grow. This is through mentorship, funding and market access, with plans to establish a Kenyan-Tunisian women business network.
We, as a Tunisian businesswomen, we think that there is a big potential in Kenya. We see that there is a big want and needs to Tunisian product as olive oil, as spices, as for example, jam. And we can also exchange between the two countries the best practices to have a more product adapted.
Yusuf says Tunisian women have a thing to learn from their Kenyan peers, since 50% of small-medium enterprises in Kenya are owned by owned, while their figure is a quarter in their North African country.
And the country has well-established logistic infrastructure through the port of Mombasa and a growing digital economy. Kenya's strengths in sectors such as agribusiness, manufacturing, ICT, and clean energy align closely with the Tunisian strategic priorities.
He tipped on Kenyan startups on how to export coffee, tea, flowers, healthcare, and ICT products to Tunisia.
Two things that I see. So one, for us on our end in the coffee industry, the tea industry, the bespoke tea and coffee is one of the areas that Kenyans can take advantage of and go and trade.
Sylvia Gatti, reporting for Prime Edition.
On to sugar production concerns, the government is investing 4 billion shillings to enhance domestic sugar production so as to reduce reliance on imported sugar. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe says the cash that is being channeled through the Sugar Development Levy aims at long-term sustainability of the sugar subsector, as well as reduce involvement of taxpayers who have over the years bailed out the ailing sugar factories. Kagwe says that the cash will be disbursed in tranches to support research and innovation.
Curing these areas and running them as family businesses, rather than subdividing them to such small units that nobody makes anything. In all the engagements we have had with the millers, they have all talked about the cane development program. And we will make sure that in that sugar levy, you are also represented there as miller. So in a manner of speaking, it is actually your money, you know, and should be used to make sure that your industry is protected and your industry is thriving.
The Java Foundation and the Craft Silicon Foundation have signed a deal to collaborate in supporting communities through digital literacy initiatives and school feeding. Under the strategic partnership, Java Foundation provide daily meals to learners enrolled in Craft Silicon Foundation's ICT training programs, creating an enabling environment for effective learning. On the other hand, Craft Silicon Foundation will install solar-powered mobile computer lab and ICT curriculum to schools being supported by the Java Foundation's feeding program.
We are feeding the future, but not only are we doing that, but we are also equipping our children with the skills that they will need to be competitive and the skills that they will need to, leave Gunyumu, leave Nairobi, leave Kenya, and really face the world.
Through technology being taught in school, it teaches learners to be creative, to use technology effectively and responsibly.
Education is not just a privilege, but it has become a necessity. Everywhere we go into this world, everything is computerized. It's actually becoming more than just simple IT, but it's not. AI is taking over, and we're bridging the digital divide. We want to ensure that the underprivileged are not left behind.
And if I'm so useless, why do you still keep me around?
What else? You're Malika's dad.
Ruth sleeps for that company, eats that company, does everything for that company.
Yeah, right.
Oh, really?
Is it that I'm too young for you, or she's more beautiful than me?
No, I didn't say that. Na si ni kweli? Kwani ni mamako? Kwani unapenda kudanganyana?
Kweli.
I really like you. And I know I have a baby with Isha, but that's in the past.
I think it's okay what Ruth is doing, questioning Jill. Because we barely know her. She's new. And I think we do have to take precautions.
19 nations will compete in the Total Energies CAF African Nations Championship, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania 2024, which will be staged from 2nd to 30th August 2025. Amongst the 4 groups in the tournament A to D, Kenya is pooled in Group A, together with Morocco, Angola, DR Congo, and Zambia.
Algeria from the set piece, the header is on target, but it's safe.
This unique competition featuring the best locally based players from across the continent definitely has something for everyone. Just bring your A game as you let it flow live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Thank you for keeping it KBC Channel 1. In sports, the government is finalizing a reward system for athletes in a bid to honor them and take care of their welfare. This is according to Sports Principal Secretary Elijah Mwangi, who was speaking during a public participation forum for sports policy framework review at Kasarani.
Sports stakeholders converged at the Stadium Hotel in Kasarani as the public participation forum for review of the Sports Act took center stage. Speakers during the forum emphasized on the need of enhancing inclusivity and strategic investments from the grassroots levels.
Of importance is that to make sure that we have good facilities in place, we have laws and legislation that guide us on how we conduct how we nurture, we identify talents, we nurture them.
Sports Principal Secretary says the government is working on improving athletes' welfare by inducting health insurance and a rewarding system for the retired athletes that will see them awarded pensions.
Development and welfare. We are looking into the matters to do with including insurance, pensions, health coverage, post-retirement support, and other representations.
Mwangi reaffirmed that the government is working to ensure that sports facilities have been developed and the existing ones revamped in a bid to nurture talent.
Under the leadership of the Cabinet Secretary and with the approval of His Excellency the President, we established a national task force to review both the National Sports Policy and Sports Act. This review is grounded on public engagement, evidence, and best practice.
Currently, Kenya is guided by the Sports Act of 2013, which stakeholders believe requires some amendments.
Kenya's top shooter Ibrahim Dungu and daughter Mariam Ibrahim were unstoppable during the Mombasa Extreme International Practical Shooting Confederation IPSC Level 2 competition held at the Bamburi Rifle Club in Mombasa. They both won gold in their respective categories.
Ibrahim Dungu of Bamburi Club won gold in the production division of the IPSC Level 2 shooting tournament in Mombasa, beating Kenya's best female shooter Agnes Mushiri of DCI, who won silver. Maurice Mureithi had to be content with the bronze medal.
The purpose of this event is to prepare some of our Kenyan shooters who are heading to Europe
for the Europe Extreme. The same stages which they are going to shoot in Europe are the same stages which we did replication over here. So this is just a gear up for the ones who are going for the Europe Extreme.
At the same time, 16-year-old Mariam Ibrahim, daughter Tundungu, won the ladies category by outclassing all her opponents. Mariam, right in her father's footsteps, defeated Agnes Mushiri, who was second, while Judy Wanja took the last podium position.
The stages are quite challenging but good because we are preparing for a Euro Extreme Championship which is coming up on next weekend. From next weekend, 22nd. So there are very nice stages set here in Mombasa, and we're ready for the Euro Extreme.
Mariam also won a silver medal in the PCC division behind Geoffrey Pesa, who won gold, as Adan Barrow settled for the bronze medal. A total of 63 shooters took part in the competition.
The national men's and women's beach volleyball teams have expressed high hopes and unshakable confidence as they prepare to represent the country at the 2025 African Beach Volleyball Championship, set to take place from 23rd to 30th June in Morocco. The team will leave the country this Saturday.
12 beach volleyball players intensify their training at Strathmore University training grounds as they seek to show a stellar performance in the upcoming continental showpiece. The championship will double as the qualifier for the 2025 Beach Volleyball World Championship, which will be held in November in Australia.
This team has even been to the Olympics in Tokyo, especially the ladies. But previously in the Continental Championship, we've had both men and ladies, even for the Commonwealth.
My message to the players is very clear. We are prepared well. We are going to meet the giants of Africa. Our target is to qualify.
A top finish in Morocco would not only affirm Kenya's dominance in African beach volleyball, but also secure a coveted ticket to the World Championships.
The players, I know the coaches will give us the final 4 out of 6 for both gender. So I want to wish all of them the best.
The national team is set to travel to Morocco on 21st of this month, as will be seeking to showcase a splendid performance to qualify for the World Championship, which will be held in November in Australia. Reporting for Prime Edition Sports from Nairobi, my name is Frederick Muoki.
Gilbert Maina carded an impressive round of 74 gross off a handicap of 4 to emerge as the overall winner of the current country club qualifying leg of the 2025 NCBA Golf Series. Kokimwea was crowned the overall gross lady winner. Defending junior winner Gabriel Amani delivered a stellar performance to secure 47 points, claiming top honors in the junior category. A total of 460 golfers took part in the weekend's action, with 260 players at Karen, including 13 junior players and another 200 at the Uganda Golf Club, as the 2025 series staged its first ever regional double-header. With successful events now concluded in both Karen and Kampala, the series heads to Ruiru Sports Club for the 15th qualifying leg, scheduled for the 21st of this month. Advocates have urged stakeholders in the sports sector to prioritize the inclusion of children with special needs in chess training programs and competitive tournaments. The call was made during the Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki chess tournament held at the M-Pesa Foundation, and which attracted participants from Kenya, South Sudan, Somalia, and Pakistan.
Which brought together nations from the Eastern Africa and Pakistan.
It like a fun, maybe sometimes I'm also a coach, an arbiter. So it has been one of my best games in my life.
I love chess because it's a game of the mind, and it also helps me understand.
In the boys under the age of 12 category, Liam Ethan from Adili Chess Academy emerged victorious with 6 points, while Josiah Tad from Membley finished second. The girls' title was won by Mbugo Melanie from Sayari School with 5 points, while Stephanie Mbugwa finished second with 4 points. The championship was aimed at promoting chess and inclusivity for children with special needs.
We do a holistic approach for our children, and that's why we are saying chess is part of what we are doing. And when we are saying that our children are really improving very much through chess, we have also other things like music.
I love playing chess. Sometimes it's good for me and for my brain.
The organizers, the gift of chess, urged the government and experts in the education sector to adopt inclusive policies, provide funding for chess kits and special training, and include chess in the special needs curriculum.
And on that note, we've come to the end of our Prime Edition on this day that we are celebrating the African child. Going to our social media platforms, thank you for your feedback. Thank you for your company. Quick acknowledgements. Fayan Hezron, watching KBC Channel 1 from Kitui. Matthew Kimeli, watching KBC Channel 1 from Eldoret. Brian Koima, watching KBC Channel 1 from the Nairobi City. Zakaria Gakuya, watching KBC from Kiambu, and you call yourself legit, watching KBC Channel 1 from Webuye. My name is Mchuma Odim. Our sign language expert tonight is Lucy Mwaura. Till some other time, God bless you. Good night.
Semana Sports.
Semana Sports is a bold, enlightening television show that offers Kenyans a direct line to the heart of government operations. Hosted by the government spokesman, Isaac Mwaura.
Welcome to Semana Sports Bonga da Gava.
This weekly program features candid conversations with senior government officials, cabinet secretaries, and heads of key parastatals as they break down their ministries' achievements, challenges, and strategic plans.
Cage aquaculture farming, yes. 8.7 billion.
Yes.
So there's a lot of money.
There's a lot of, and we have not even tapped the potential.
As we get closer to start constructing the first nuclear program, we should have a robust regulatory framework.
Thank you, the spokesperson, for this chance, where we are able to converse with our government.
Semana Sports.
Hii sio story ya jaba.
Sio story ya jaba.
Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo daima. Thank you.
Tuesday at 8 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
Msana uko na confidence sana?
Sana.
Yana mama kukwama na hiyo uongo.
Uongo gani?
Mama yako ni nani?
Why all this hatred towards me? You should be grateful that I'm here to help.
I didn't ask for your help.
Shiro, can I trust you?
Hi, madam. Hiyo sitakuwa responsibility kubwa sana.
You really think with that kind of attitude you're going to change this company?
What kind of attitude?
Kadi mgeni kajivani kadiva. Badala kamsaidie, kanataka compete na yeye.
Sasa unani?
For those who find solace in the great outdoors, Kalimoni area in Kiambu County is a treasure of scenic wonders. The area is characterized by lush greenery and agricultural fields. Here, would-be visitors can take part in guided nature walks along eco-friendly trails where they can observe a variety of flora and fauna unique to this part of Kenya. This tranquil environment offers a perfect backdrop for birdwatching, photography, and simply reconnecting with nature. The destination is home to farms that specialize in organic farming, horticulture, and agro-tourism. Local farmers would share their knowledge and practices, providing visitors with insights into sustainable farming techniques that promote environmental conservation and food security.